next in the 2022 fall edition football media days, Douglas County School System. Want to introduce one of the most successful coaches, even in the state of Georgia, our own Corey Jarvis. He's been at Lithia Springs for 4 years and has progressively gotten better, Coach. The program's grown, program's become stronger, and the program has become well known, particularly in the metro area. I hear you a lot. Sam Crenshaw and some of those folks talk about the program on the weekends. You ever heard that on 92.9? They do, absolutely.
He's my friend, brother. He just got
Okay, he does. He talks about Coach Jarvis, and I always smile, so that's good stuff. But I do want to give you an opportunity to just talk a little bit about the season and some of the things that your expectations, and again, I know they're lofty and they're high, and we do appreciate that in the Douglas County School System. So I'll turn it over to you.
Well, definitely glad to be here. Like Mr. Collins just said, I'm going to my 4th year here at Lithia Springs. Got an opportunity to see my kids that I came through this program for 4 years. Got now a chance to see them come to their senior year and to see the hard work coming to fruition. We were fortunate last year to be a second-round team, so finishing the Sweet 16. Felt like we fell a little short of our goals. We didn't get a chance to win the Reed Championship, and also didn't get a chance to host a playoff game. But we were able to win that first-round game up at Appalachia, and which some people would probably call an upset. But then, we faced a Whitewater team in that second-round game, and they were pretty tough. We played them tough, and a few breaks here and there, we probably could have won that ball game and been in the Elite Eight. So we're just hoping that this year we play real well. We got a good group of seniors coming back, 29 to be exact, and I believe that with that class, along with the kids that we have in our 10th and 11th grade class, I think that we ought to have a little success in our region and have a little success in the state playoff as well.
I know when you first took over, Lithia wasn't known for football, whatever. Kind of talk about how the kids and bought into the program, and now do you feel like the program is where it should be, or and did you arrive on schedule, ahead of schedule, or what kind of?
Well, from previous schools, we're not exactly where I wanted to be, because I think only 1 year I've been a head coach. Where we had, I take that back. I forgot about the Duluth years. I can't forget about the Duluth years. But besides the Duluth years, it's been like second round of bust at worst for us. So when coming in, expectation wasn't real high. Yeah. But I did expect our kids to, slick up and beat, a few teams, and we ended up doing it our first year when we upset Carver and got a chance to go to the first round of playoffs. The second year, we felt like we should have won the region, and then, but we still got a chance to host a playoff game. So that was an aspiration that we did have. And last year, to win a playoff game for the first time in the school history was real huge for the program as well. But I think we are along where we want to be. I know our kids feel like, just like I feel like, we probably should have been an Elite 18, Final Four type team in 5A last year. And so hopefully this year we'll take a step or two and make it to that, and preferably make it to the state championship.
How difficult was it to kind of instill that winning mentality in the kids, considering the program, hadn't won much?
Well, when we first got there, the numbers, because school football-wise, we don't have big numbers. Like, we never had big numbers compared to the other schools in the district. But as far as just the kids that I had, I just remember walking out, telling them all the time when I walked in and only saw like 12, 15 kids working out after school. I thought I took the wrong job. But those 12, 15 kids were loyal, and they were just committed. And the thing that they did was immediately bought in. I know people talk about buy-in, but they, no matter what I told them to do, they did it. So if I told them wear brown, everybody wear brown one day, they was going to do it. Mm-hmm. And I think the kids who were behind them, this group right here, got a chance to see that. And they got a chance to see them become successful. Like, I tell everybody, I got those basketball kids out in the hallway and off the basketball court to come out there and play 1 year, and they got scholarships. And I think our kids saw that, and that's, that's to me kind of made the difference for our kids. And when them seeing those kids who hadn't really ever played football go out there and be successful, then have an opportunity to go to the playoffs, and now they're playing in college, and bettering themselves as well. I think that made it real easy for our kids to start buying in.
29 seniors, that's a big number. Kind of, obviously these kids know what to expect from you, and you know what to expect from them. Talk about the leadership, and are these kids owning the team now?
Right, and that's a big thing. I told him, like, in all honesty, if I should have did, I probably should have brought the bus over here, just brought all of them over here, to be honest, because that senior class has been just a true blessing for the program. You know, from the parents to their siblings to just their friends. You know, when we sit down and look at each kid individually, we got great leaders, and you know, from the Kyrie Mapsons, who's not here today, all the way to the Yusef Oakland ones, to Pakofi Sarpong, starting center. Those guys are just great kids, but they also are kids who lead, and they, you know, a lot of time, even if they're not the vocal leader on the team, they're leading by example.
How much motivation has that been for you, for your guys to see the girls flag team to compete for a state championship now? You don't want to be outdone by,
Well, if you go with my ninth graders, they feel like their ninth grade team could have beat the flag football team, but I told them I don't think they would have, to be honest. But just overall, it was, you know, to talk about the girls and the boys kind of talking about it, I think that it was a big motivation for our guys to see them have a chance to play for a state championship and win the way they did. So I think that has a huge motivational factor for our guys, and especially for this upcoming season.
Just briefly talk about the new region and how you see Lithia in it.
Ooh, new region. Well, you know, they added South Fulton School, so we got the Tri-Cities and Banneker and Creekside. You know, Creekside's coming off a Final Four appearance. I heard that Coach Mo over there loading up again, so I expect them to be competing. And I know from Coach Dugans over at Tri-City, and then Coach over at Kelly Bratson over at Banneker, they're going to be real well coached, and they're going to be physical kids. So I know we're going to have some physical games with those three teams. And then you talk about my old school with Mays coming into the region. I know Coach Slade, when Coach Battle left, and now Coach Sladen's the head coach. He was my quarterback coach when I was there, and now I think he became the OC for Coach Battle when Coach Hood left and came with me. So now he's the head coach. So they're going to still be doing things similar to us, and I know they're going to have talent. So it's going to be a lot tougher. Villa Rica still is going to be strong, and then when you look at Chapel Hill, I know Brad's doing a great job over there with them. So I just expect the region to be real tough, and you know, I tell the kids all the time, I wouldn't want anything different. I would want a cakewalk region.
Yeah. And this will be your first time facing Mays since you left, right?
Right, it will. It will be.
Circle that date.
Oh, it's already circled. We already know that. I think Coach Slade know that. It's already circled.
So I do want to add one thing, a quick question. I know we've been talking for a little while, but your non-region schedule is probably tougher than any of the high schools that we have in the county. So just mention that very briefly, if you don't mind, because it's all very, very successful and usually higher classification ranked teams.
It's done on purpose. Like I tell everybody, the perfect scenario for any high school head coach, to me, is to have 3 or 4 non-region games. And if you got 3 or 4 non-region games, you want to play at least 2 opponents that's like tough. Because if you don't, it's not preparing you for your tough region. It's not preparing you for playoffs. And to me, that's the perfect scenario for us. We got 3 non-region games, and we had the opportunity to play 2 county rivals with Alexander and DC. To me, that's what you want. And then to have a chance to let the kids go down for the past 2 years, and now for a 3rd year to go down to Lee County, who's always perennial state power. From my understanding, they're expecting them to either play for the state championship or win it this year again in 6A, along with Langston Hughes. You know, that's who you want to face. And to me, like us playing, like we had the opportunity to play some, I hate to say pushover school, but some schools who were not as good as those 3. And I didn't think they would do us any good. And to introduce 5 of my senior football players, these young men are going to be key components to our season this year. The first young man I'm going to introduce, our starting quarterback. He's been our starting quarterback for the past 3 years, Jackie Hart. Next young man is also a 3-year starter at wide receiver, number 11, Aiden Smith. Next young man is also a 3-year starter on our defensive line, Cole Nash. Next young man is a 2-way starter for us and also a 3-year starter is Kevin Secker. And the last young man is a 2-year starter for us and start for us at running back is DeMarco Brownlee.